Francisco de Zurbaran/Zurbaran, Spanish, Francisco the Theta Urbe Tuaran, baptized the 7th of November 1598, the 27th of August 1664, was a Spanish painter. He is known primarily for his religious paintings depicting monks, nuns, and martyrs, and for his still lifes. Zurbaran gained the nickname Spanish Caravaggio, owing to the forceful use of chiaroscuro in which he excelled. He was the father of the painter Juan de Zurbaran. Zurbaran was born in 1598 in Fuente de Cantos, Extremadura. He was baptized on the 7th of November of that year. His parents were Luis de Zurbaran, a haberdasher, and his wife, Isabel Marquez. In childhood he set about imitating objects with charcoal. In 1614 his father sent him to Seville to apprentice for 3 years with Pedro Diaz de Villanueva, an artist of whom very little is known. Zurbaran's first marriage, in 1617, was to Maria Pet, who was 9 years older. Maria died in 1624 after the birth of their third child. In 1625 he married again to wealthy widow Beatriz de Morales. On the 17th of January 1626, Zurbaran signed a contract with the prior of the Dominican monastery San Pablo el Real in Seville, agreeing to produce 21 paintings within 8 months. 14 of the paintings depicted the life of Saint Dominic, the others represented Saint Bonaventura, Saint Thomas Aquinas, and the 4 doctors of the Church. This commission established Zurbaran as a painter. On the 29th of August 1628, Zurbaran was commissioned by the Mercedarians of Seville to produce 22 paintings for the cloister in their monastery. In 1629, the elders of Seville invited Zurbaran to relocate permanently to the city, as his paintings had gained such high reputation that he would increase the reputation of Seville. He accepted the invitation and moved to Seville with his wife Beatriz de Morales, the 3 children from his first marriage, a relative called Isabel de Zurbaran, and 8 servants. In May 1639 his second wife, Beatriz de Morales, died. Towards 1630 he was appointed painter to Philip IV, and there is a story that on one occasion the sovereign laid his hand on the artist's shoulder, saying "Painter to the king, king of painters." After 1640 his austere, harsh, hard-edged style was unfavorably compared to the sentimental religiosity of Murillo, and Zurbaran's reputation declined. Beginning by the late 1630s, Zurbaran's workshop produced many paintings for export to South America. Jacob and His 12 Sons, a series depicting the patriarch Jacob and his 12 sons, seems to have been aimed at the South America market, but the originals were acquired for Auckland Castle in Bishop Auckland, Company Durham, England. On the 7th of February 1644, Zurbaran married a third time with another wealthy widow, Leonor Dorda. It was only in 1658, late in Zurbaran's life, that he moved to Madrid in search of work and renewed his contact with Velázquez. Popular myth has Zurbaran dying in poverty, but at his death the value of his estate was about 20,000 reals. Style. It is unknown whether Zurbaran had the opportunity to see the paintings of Caravaggio, only that his work features a similar use of chiaroscuro and tenebrism, dramatic lighting. The painter thought by some art historians to have had the greatest influence on his characteristically severe compositions was Juan Sanchez Cotton. Polychrome sculpture, which by the time of Zurbaran's apprenticeship had reached a level of sophistication in Seville that surpassed that of the local painters, provided another important stylistic model for the young artist. The work of Juan Martínez Montañez is especially close to Zurbaran's in spirit. He painted his figures directly from nature, and he made great use of the lay figure in the study of draperies, in which he was particularly proficient. He had a special gift for white draperies. As a consequence, the houses of the white-robed Carthusians are abundant in his paintings. To these rigid methods, Zurbaran is said to have adhered throughout his career, which was prosperous, wholly confined to Spain, and varied by few incidents beyond those of his daily labor. His subjects were mostly severe and ascetic religious vigils, the spirit chastising the flesh into subjection, the compositions often reduced to a single figure. The style is more reserved and chastened than Caravaggio's, the tone of color often quite bluish. Exceptional effects are attained by the precisely finished foregrounds, massed out largely in light and shade. Backgrounds are often featureless and dark. Zurbaran had difficulty painting deep space. When interior or exterior settings are represented, the effect is suggestive of theatre backdrops on a shallow stage. Zurbaran's late works, such as the St. Francis, circa 1658 to 1664, show the influence of Murillo and Titian in their looser brushwork and softer contrasts. Artistic legacy. In 1631, he painted the great altarpiece of the Apotheosis of St. Thomas Aquinas, now in the Museum of Fine Arts of Seville. It was executed for the Church of the College of that Saint. This is Zurbaran's largest composition, containing figures of Christ, the Madonna, various saints, Charles V with knights, and Archbishop Desire, founder of the college, with monks and servitors, all the principal personages being more than life-size. It had been preceded by numerous pictures for the Ritual of St. Peter in the Cathedral of Seville. Between 1628 and 1634, he painted 4 scenes from the life of St. Peter Nolasco for the principal monastery of the Calced Mercedarians in Seville. In Santa Maria de Guadalupe he painted multiple large pictures, 8 of which relate to the history of St. Jerome, and in the Church of St. Paul, Seville, a figure of the crucified Saviour, in Grial, creating an illusion of marble. In 1639, he completed the paintings of the high altar of the Carthusians in Gères. Also in the 1630s he was commissioned to provide canvases representing the labors of Hercules, the only group of mythological subjects from the hand of Zurbaran, which were installed in the Hall of Realms in Madrid. A fine example of his work is in the National Gallery, London, a whole-length, life-sized figure of a kneeling St. Francis holding a skull. In 1835, paintings by Zurbaran were confiscated from monasteries and displayed in the new Museum of Cadiz. His principal pupils were Bernardo Ayala, Juan Caro de Tavera, and the Polanco brothers. Others included Ignacio de Reyes. Zurbaran was the subject of a major exhibition in 1987 at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, which traveled in 1988 to Galeries Nationales du Grand Palais in Paris. In 2015, the Vicente Born Museum in Madrid presented Zurbaran. A New Perspective.